Arabic conquest and Islam, the Sasanian Empire was being economically and militarily exhausted. In the beginning of the 7th century, there were internal rivalries and administration was becoming weak, as was organization. The protracted war with the Byzantines was draining resources. A plague killed half of the population of western Iran in 628, after which a civil war broke out. In 632, Yazdegerd III became emperor. Normally, this would have been part of a cyclical phase until a new and vital leader would revive the traditions of wealth and production, military might, and wise administration. However, into this point of weakness, there was a storm brewing in the west. An Arabian prophet of a new religion, Islam, named Muhammad, had formed a fighting force that conquered the lands to the west and south of Iran. After the death of this leader, and in the same year Yazdegerd III had been crowned, Muhammad's successors, along with some Iranian allies, invaded the Sasanian Empire. Yazdegerd fled to the east together with the whole Sasanian court and a corps of warriors. The emperor was murdered in Merv, and his son, along with the court, went into exile in Tang, China, where they served the Chinese emperor and became part of the Chinese military establishment. After a struggle of some 15 years, the Arabs fully overcame the empire and established an Umayyad Caliphate, 651 through 750. During this time, it is estimated that only about 10% of Iranians converted to Islam. At first, Islam was tantamount to the Arab religion. In fact, conversion was not made easy by the Arabs because non-Muslims were taxed at a higher rate. So having many non-Muslims in the caliphate was a significant source of revenue. By the end of this period, the Persians began to transform Islam from within by imbuing it with increasing Iranian features and ideas. It is under Persian influence that Islam is mutated from the Arabic code into an international and universal religion. In 750, the Umayyads were overthrown, and the Abbasid Caliphate was established. This caliphate would last 3 centuries until the middle of the 11th century. It was during this time that the Persian ideology was well established in the Islamic world. At the time, the Sasanian culture made an enormous impact on Islamic ideas, customs, and practices. It can be said that almost every aspect of what we now think of as Islamic culture, especially music, art, architecture, mathematics, philosophy, etc., was either directly borrowed from or heavily influenced by Sasanian culture. By the end of this period, the Persian language even began being used as a philosophical language. The indigenous Iranian culture continued to be a matrix for the fermentation of revolt and rebellion against the Abbasids for another century. In the 750s, a coalition of Zoroastrians, Khorramites, and Shiites, known as the Surk Jamagan, red-clad ones, rebelled against the Abbasids. Under Abu Muslim, and then in the early 800s, Babak Khorramdin, 795 through 838, fought the caliphate for 20 years before he was betrayed and executed. At the beginning of the Abbasid Caliphate, about 40% of Persians were Muslims. By the end of this time, that number had risen to about 98%. The success of Islam was key to its increasingly Iranized nature. Zoroastrianism remained a minority religion as it is today. After the age of revolts, the old religion of Zoroastrianism survived more quietly in the countryside and in the mountains, especially around Yazd. But the key to survival is becoming unobtrusive and almost invisible. Sometime during the middle of the 10th century, a group of Zoroastrians left Iran and migrated to the coast of India, in the vicinity of modern-day Mumbai. There they set up a new community and maintained occasional linkages with their co-religionists in Iran over the centuries. These Zoroastrians in India are known as the Parsis, and it is among them their religion continued to thrive most vigorously, free from persecution. Persian culture was extended further into Central Asia among the Turkic peoples, and further eastward into the Indian subcontinent at this time. It was through the agency of the Persians that various Turkic peoples were Islamicized. Iran absorbed, as a matter of course, Persianized many of the brutal invasions by Turkic tribes and Mongols in subsequent centuries. At the dawn of the modern age, in 1502, Ismail I was crowned the first Shah of the Shiite New Persian Empire, known as the Safavid Empire, which would last until 722.